Metalbend's Chronicles, where metal lives. And you know what? We got an album ranking coming up here for you guys tonight. That's right. Anyways, this is going to be an interesting one because this band only has 2 studio albums. However, this band would go on to make 2 more albums under a different name. Of course, I'm talking about Wrathchild America. You know, they put out these 2 studio albums, Climbing on the Wall 1989 and 3D 1991 on Atlantic Records. Prior to that, they formed in 1978. Yes, formed in 78. Some of the early known band names were Atlantis and Tyrant, which it seems like a lot of metal bands had that name Tyrant at one point, which is kind of weird. And they would be called Wrathchild from 1979 up till 1988 until another band called Wrathchild basically threatened to sue them, so they had to change their name to Wrathchild America in 1989, obviously, before their debut album came out. So prior to that, they put out 3 demos. That's right, they put out a demo called Dangerous in 1983, which is more along the lines of AC/DC or Thin Lizzy, sound-wise. It's not quite the power metal, thrash metal that they would become. Their second demo, Days of Thunder, came out in 1987, which is just 4 tracks that would be on Climbing the Wall, which would come out in 1989, and then they put out a demo in 1989 simply called Demo 89. Anyways, so yes, that's the history of Wrathchild America for you. Lineup-wise, what do you got here? So you got Brad Dibbins on lead vocals and bass. You got Jay Abeen on guitars and mandolin and backing vocals. Yeah, mandolin, what a strange instrument in a thrash metal band, right? You got Terry Carter on guitar, tenor, banjo, and backing vocals. Again, see, this band's quite different. And you got the most well-known member of this band, Shannon Larkin, on drums. Which Shannon Larkin would go on to join a couple of bigger, not-so-good bands. I'm talking about Candlebox and Godsmack, and he's currently in Godsmack to this day on drums. So Wrathchild America would be active from 78 till 1996 originally, even though they had that band change in 1993 after getting dropped from Atlantic Records to Souls at Zero, which I don't have much memory of, to be honest with you. They would put out 2 studio albums and an EP under the band name Souls at Zero, and they would go in a more groove metal, alternative metal direction. Yes. Anyways, we're going to get to the review here, or the ranking here, not review, ranking of these 2 studio albums. Alright, so we're just going to get right to it. And here is what comes in at number 2. Okay, coming in at number 2 for me, it's going to be 3D from 1991. A very, very odd album. However, it's a very interesting listen. I think it's a very enjoyable listen, to be honest. Now, to me, this album's definitely more thrash-oriented compared to the debut. But, however, it's very bizarre because you get jazz fusion type of influences on here. You can get some country influences on here. Or not country, blues influences on here, excuse me. And yeah, you get some weird progressive stuff going on too. However, it's still a pretty heavy record. So they do a pretty interesting cover of I Ain't Drunk, I'm Just Drinking, which was originally an Albert Collins track. And that's a very interesting cover because that totally strips away everything that Wrathchild America pretty much was up to this point because it's a straight up blues track. Well, it's a cover track too. But you got other interesting tracks on here, like Another Nameless Face. Prego is a pretty bizarre instrumental, very jazz like. You get some funk in here too, you know. And 3D Man is just a straight up pretty thrashy tune to open the album. Spot's a very bizarre track. It's very jazz influenced, mixed with like thrash metal. Gentleman Death's a great track. But yeah, you know, all in all, not a bad album, I don't think. Criminally underrated. You don't really hear nobody talk about this band either. The only other YouTuber I saw do a video on Wrathchild America was Oldhead. That's right, the only one that I've seen. Nobody ever talks about these guys. But anyways, I'm talking about them too. But that's my number 2, 3D from 1991. And well, it's obvious what number 1's gonna be. So here we go. Suits of armor mounted ready for war. The eagle is in the sky. They rule the land by the Queen's command. The rival is prepared to die. As the fog was lifted and the daylight appears, say a final prayer. The trumpets sing the sound of battle. Lance of the Lord they bear. Bravely they shout their attack. And they know that there's no turning back. Coming in at number 1, obviously, Climbing the Wall. That came out in 1989. I still have it on cassette tape, as you see there. Man, this is definitely an interesting album. Wrathchild America sounds like nobody when it comes to thrash metal. They definitely have their own sound. Debatable if you want to really call this a thrash metal album. Yeah, there's elements of thrash on here, but there's also elements of power metal and traditional heavy metal on here. Climbing the Wall is a good opener, pretty speedy number. You can hear some thrash in there, but you can also hear like traditional heavy metal in here. Hell's Gate's another great track. No Deposit, No Return's another excellent track. I mean, London After Midnight's really good. Candy from a Madman's more like straight up heavy metal. You know, you get Silent Darkness, which is another excellent track. And you get a very interesting cover of Pink Floyd's Time. They do a really awesome cover of that track. You know, my favorite track on here is Days of the Thunder. Wow, what a great track this is. Now this one's just straight up thrash, speed metal, new wave of British heavy metal sounding, kind of early Iron Maiden sounding. Just a great way to end this legendary, yeah, you can call it a legendary album if you want, I guess. But this legendary hidden gem of an album, yes, it's a good way to end off this great debut by Wrathchild America. It's a shame there wasn't any more Wrathchild America albums. But it is what it is. You get 2. And yes, we're not going to talk about the Souls at Zero albums because I don't own them. Even though it is the same lineup, to me it's still different because it's a different band name. Anyways, that's my little short ranking of the Wrathchild America discography. Like, comment, subscribe. And shout out to Music of Destruction, Damage Incorporated. Throw some metal. Thrasher be thrashed. That's right, go check out those channels and keep it freaking metal and bang those heads.